Today we're at our facility in Troy, Michigan, where we assemble our superchargers. Let's take a few minutes and take a look at the intake manifold. We'll start off with some of the unique design features. You're looking inside the top of the intake manifold prior to assembly, and you'll notice that this lower area here is where our intercooler lies right in the top. These are the individual runners, and down below is the exhaust of the twin screw supercharger. Inside the lower end, you'll take a look, and you can notice the ports in the back side. The screws actually pull air from the back port, which is actually this right here. They pull air in through here, through the back of the screws. The air walks up through the front of the screws and exits through this triangle port in the front of the manifold, pressurizing the intake manifold. The air then goes through the intercooler, and once through the intercooler, hits the top lid and is diverted into the intake manifold. Our supercharger design is very compact. You'll notice that the supercharger itself is mounted to the bottom of the intake manifold. It rests in the valley of the engine, so it's out of the way. It makes the entire package very low, able to fit underneath most hoods. We use the same screws on any application from 400 up to over 700 horsepower. Looking inside the intake manifold, you'll notice that the triangle port is actually the exhaust port of the supercharger. Pressurized air exits here, goes through the intercooler, and then eventually through each one of the runners. This round port that you notice in the back is actually a bypass valve. And at normal operating condition, light load conditions, that valve is wide open and actually creates a short circuit for the air so that it's not compressed. I'll show you the assembly process here. We've got a couple of different manifolds set up in different stages. This manifold has the screws have just been assembled. We stand them up vertical, drop the whole screw package in, we lower it down, and you can see, I'll rotate the screws here. You can actually see as the screws are rotating, air is actually being squeezed here and exits out this area here. Here's a manifold now that we've assembled. It's got the gear case on the front, the intercooler is inserted, and the water connections are made up front here. We come around this side. The supercharger is, in this stage, is completely assembled. We have a top lid on it. This happens to be for our 5.4 liter truck. But once the manifold is completely assembled, it comes over to a test stand here. We check it for any vacuum leaks. And then after this test, it goes outside. We put it on a run stand, run it for about 15 minutes. We measure noise, temperature, and take various readings throughout to make sure it's going to perform properly for you.
All right, within spec, we'll probably run it another 5 minutes just to let it break in. Yeah, it sounds good. It's not making any knocking sounds, so it sounds good.
Okay, here's our 4.6 liter package, most commonly known for the Mustang. It's completely assembled on our test bench. We've completed our vacuum test on here. Now that's complete, this thing will be removed. These are slave fuel injectors. We remove those. We take them outside, put them on our test bench, and run this product for about 15 minutes at various speeds. We take temperature readings initially, noise readings, then run it at up to higher speeds, and eventually take a final set of readings, and then each unit is individually serialized and all the data is recorded. You'll notice on this side, this is the bypass valve we mentioned earlier. You'll notice the yellow paint on here. Part of our setup process is that is the stop adjustment screw that sets the air gap on the valve to ensure that it won't lock in place. During normal light load conditions, this valve will be held open by vacuum, and the minute you go to heavy load conditions, the pressure drops, it seals off the port in the back, and the manifold starts to produce pressure. This is our supercharger assembly room. You'll notice that it's very clean inside, well lit, and it's environmentally controlled. We assemble anywhere from about 15 to 30 supercharger assemblies a day, ranging in 4.6 liter, the lower horsepower application, at about 400, all the way up to applications that are well above 700. It's the same set of screws used through the entire product, just different enhancements, different pulleys, and different intake lids or inlet tubes that produce the additional power. We have 4 people working in the Supercharger assembly area, and we thank you for taking the time to take the tour with us. Thank you very much.